and it's zip, zip. And I said, well, look, you know, I'm older now. Could you do a bit around there? And she went, okay. Bit over here, yeah. And I said, well, you may as well do this too, because, you know, why not? And he goes, zip, right over the pacemaker. And I went, oh no, oh, that's real bad. He's holding this thing going, what's that? I went, I have to go now. So I had to get in a taxi, go along, and I'm driving to Bangkok, to this place called Bumrungrad. It's an incredible hospital there. And I'm thinking, you know, Mr. Sunrae, you're a bit of a flower at times, but even in your height, even for you, this is a good one. In a taxi, trying to get yourself. And what they do is amazing. They have this thing, it's like the size of a computer, and it's the machine, and they put this thing on you, and then they basically change the heartbeat or the frequency or what it does. And it was amazing, and they just check you out. And I went to see one, I was having a lot of problems. It's good up here actually, because I was having a lot of problems. And the doctor that was doing it, he went, look at this, and he cranked it up, and I'm going, oh, he says, you're feeling really bad, aren't you? I went, yeah, can you take it down? He went, I just want you to know how bad you can feel. I went, I get it. But, so, anyway, I think that the aliens are right. I think we're all bonkers. This whole spiritual game we're in, everyone I'm meeting is absolutely bonkers. And I have a psychic friend, and he's one of the sanest people I know in this game. And he's talking to the dead. Me? I'm talking to Merlin the magician, so I have no credibility. But when I went to a gallery that he was doing, it was amazing. He picks these people out, and he says, madam, he says, the couple, he says, she was like part Japanese and he was Irish. Yeah, real bruiser I go. And my friend said, so he said, I'm picking up soups, just soups. And she went, no, I don't like soups. He went, it's pretty strong. He said, you know, do you like lentil soups? No, I don't like lentils. He says, okay, he says, it's very strong. He said, I'm just seeing these soups. So the Irish guy turned around and said, what about the cabbage soups you make me twice a week? And she went, oh yeah, I mean, I make you soups twice a week, but I'm not into soups. And the psychic goes, what are you talking about? There's soups around this. It was just really funny that they didn't get that. And then he goes across the other side of the room to this guy. He looked like a mafioso guy. Right? He's got the dark shades on. I mean, there's lights everywhere. And he said, I'll come to you. So he says, yeah. He says, I see all these horses around you. No, I don't like horses. And he says, no, they're there. He says, there's horses. There's lots of horses around you. And he said, oh, by the way, he's on a first date. Dating this guy, I mean, what a place to take a first date, right? I mean, well, it's all coming out, right, with psychic seeing it all, and he looked a bit shady at best, and so did she, by the way. And so it ended up that, basically, he said, no, I don't like horses. And he said, but they're all around you. He says, don't you admire horses? Don't you look at horses for a reason? No. So she said, but you go to the track once a week. He went, oh, yeah, I mean, I go to the track, he says, but I don't like horses. And it's like, and I'm thinking, geez, this is hard work. How many people are in so much denial about what's going on? Same thing with cars. He says, what about cars? He went, I don't like cars. He went, but you're connected to cars. No, not me. And he says, do you sell cars? He went, yeah, I'm the Honda dealer for this area. Hello. You know, and this is it with the whole spiritual game and all that. We get so much in denial. All of us are in this denial game. So I found as time goes on that I could write spiritual comedy. So I was at this Ayurvedic, I do a lot of things. I was at this Ayurvedic clinic because I had very high cholesterol, and this was supposed to be a cholesterol builder-up, and I thought, well, okay, so I go with it. And while I was there, I decided to add something. And what I've got here is the first thing I wrote linked to this spiritual comedy. And what it was is that You basically were there, and you were going into this clinic to get blasted with all these oils put over you and different things and all that. And this particular day was Friday the 13th. Auspicious, right? And it was the first day of the Carolyn Spring. And I put this other fella in the thing, but this is what basically happened to me, pretty much. Funny beginning at the centre today. I was in my room and went on to the 5:30 a.m. Woke up by Annie, Medicine. Hello, Medicine! Sir G, my massage guy, who had a donation tray as it's the first day of the Carolyn Spring, Friday the 13th. Funny. In the middle of this tray, there's a 100 rupee note. So there's no confusion about what the recommended donation is. And I forgot where my money was, and so I had to turn over my whole travelling world. Materialistic thoughts about money, not good at 5:30 in the morning. And so in the middle of this panic attack, I finally get the money. And then everyone is on the case, as all the Hindus at this small clinic are going home to their families. So they need to get the Ayurvedic work done as soon as possible. So 6:30, on the table and on the production line. Sarjeev is massaging me like his life depends on it. His wife is 8 months preggers and he wants to get back home to her. I pick up on Sarjeev's vibe and try to turn over a bit too quick on the Ayurvedic massage table. Not a good move. Turning at speed and being oiled up like a sardine ready to be eaten out of a tin can is not a good combo. Sarjeev saves the day and I live to fight another turn. There was another young lady next door who had been on the factory line since 6 a.m. I was feeling guilty like I was a latecomer. 7:15, pummeled to a pulp. Thrown in the stream box looking like a Dalek. I won't go there. Dalek from Doctor Who, whatever. Okay, so cranked up full throttle. Get 'em in and get 'em out. Leaking like a sieve. Sarjeev helps me to the shower. Bit wobbly due to the oil, steam, and I want to go home by it. Leave a pool of liquid ray on the floor as I make it to the shower to rinse off. 7:25. Showered off and standing outside the treatment room, sweating buckets, heaving away like I've just finished the Kentucky Derby. 7:26. Called back by Annie so she could put the thalum, gooseberry powder, on my 7th chakra region as it's good for the brain. Must be a slow burner. The thalum hasn't kicked in yet and I'm still heaving away. 7:30. Had to lie down. It's all a bit too much. 8:15. Saw Sarjeev, who is now completely chilled out, told him to go home and see his wife. So this I then sent off to different people, and I got a favourable response. So I thought, this is all right, have fun and stuff like that. So I decided to do something else while I was there, and it was this, and it was called the Laughing Mosquito. I'm in the 6th day of the fat-burning Ayurvedic paste that is liberally rubbed all over the bod for 1 hour. Its purpose is to burn the fat, obviously, and help blast out the cholesterol build-up. It's applied in a methodical way. There are 3 practitioners involved. I'd like to explain a little about each of them. The first practitioner is a middle-aged man called Roseberry, a diminutive chap of about 5 foot in height who weighs 45 kilos in his shirt and lungi. I know this as we were all weighing ourselves the other day, and I was amazed to see how little he weighed. He's very intelligent, speaks good English, and is a lovely fellow. His job regarding the fat burning is to stir and control the heated paste, which is then unceremoniously dumped on the unforgiving wooden Ayurvedic bed by my feet, so the other 2 can liberally apply it all over my bod. By the way, the other day Roseberry showed me the stone that he cleans his feet on. This is no ordinary stone. This is a magical stone. I mentioned it to him that the heels of my feet are suffering and they've never been dirtier in my life. He demonstrated how it's done. So when I washed my feet and then rubbed them on the stone, hey presto, they were cured. It was a miracle. Now, I've seen a miracle or two in my time, but none compared to the enchanted stone. Rosebery has now elevated to full-blown wizard in my world. Next is Niven, a tall young man, 21 years old, approximately 5'11", who looks a little bit like a giraffe. He weighs 52 kilos in his shirt and lungi as he jumped on the scales at the same time as Rosebery. Not exactly the same time, even though the scales could have handled the combined weight, but straight after Rosebery. I'm sure he thinks my name is Bathtal, as every day he greets me with, "Hello, Bathtal." This I forget daily. It's all a bit sad. There are only two things to remember at the clinic for treatments. I seem to fail miserably on both scores, but I'm working on it. They are, number 1, bath towel, number 2, rest. The wonderful Kerala people working and living there obviously talk over their meals, as everyone I saw for about 2 or 3 days would always look at me and say, rest. Apart from Niven, of course, who would only say, hello, bath towel. The rest bit extended to the kitchen staff and room cleaner. I felt like a marked man and dutifully did my time after treatments. I think everyone is now onto other things as the rhetoric has subsided in recent days. Back to Niven. When he begins a treatment, he's full on into it, but his enthusiasm tends to wane somewhat as he gets distracted. I put this down to him being 21 and daydreaming about girls. Yesterday, he informed me with great ceremony, with help from Rosebery, who speaks very good English, that there is a new Vishnu temple close by, and it's his first birthday, so there is a big celebration due to this. I asked him if it was a big affair. He very solemnly looked at me as he moved his head from side to side and said, "Oh, an elephant." This, quite frankly, said it all, and he got back to slapping the fat burner paste all over me with renewed vigour. So after it was over, there I was laying on the unforgiving Ayurvedic bed on my back, and I felt a slight pinprick just underneath the fleshy part on the left side of my jaw. I very slowly and purposefully flicked it with my left hand to see that a big fat mosquito full of my blood, my life force, was flying up with great difficulty above my head. He looked a bit like a helicopter carrying too much of a payload. My instinct took over and I tried to swat it hard with my right hand. Not a good move with 1.5 tons of fat-burning paste on the smooth, unforgiving Ayurvedic bed. I slithered to the edge of the bed and just recovered my bodily equilibrium in time to defy gravity and stay on the bed, but it was a close call. I gained my call and saw the mozzie still hovering above me. I now know the sound of a mosquito laughing, as I'm sure he was laughing at me. I'm sure of it. This was one mozzie not to mess with. He was smart, fat, and this was his patch. He flew above me, treating me with complete contempt and disdain, making a buzzing noise like a zzz in between his teeth. Then with further insult, he blew a raspberry at me. Now, I've been to Varanasi and seen and smelt the burning flesh of the dead bodies, but there is nothing like the spittle of a mosquito. Nothing. When one is laying there in a state of semi-slither, helpless, like a newborn babe waiting to be rescued by your mother, with mozzie spittle on your unprotected face, that, my friends, is suffering. In my case, my saviours were Niven and Sarjeev, who came back and rescued me from the laughing mosquito. They stood either side of me, grabbed an arm each before hoisting me up, slithering and sliding to a seated position. They were both consummate professionals regarding this manoeuvre, as they always compensated for me flying forwards like an out-of-control luge competitor on the final gold medal run in the Winter Olympics, wearing nothing more than a skimpy piece of cloth to protect my modesty. Sarjeev now took over and helped me to the ground. I was now looking like a hunched-up, drunken old man, covered in paste, looking like I was doing a good impersonation of Gollum, getting up in the morning. We were ever so slowly, we made it to the shower, where Sajeev doused my back with a plastic measuring jug full of warm water before rubbing the Ayurvedic defat busting paste remover over my back. Then I was on my own. I went back to my room. I hung my bath towel outside my room and headed off for breakfast. This is an eating room which has a sign outside it aptly called dining. While I was eating, I saw that Sajeev had miraculously changed out of his Kerala longi and propelled himself into 21st century fashion, as he is now sporting snazzy western pants with a white flowery shirt. This is serious. I'm now all eyes in a circular room with tables and chairs. I see Sajeev quick as a flash into the back of a rickshaw. Newsflash, newsflash, it's driven by Nivin. Like lightning they exit the Ayurveda compound, as is the way of rickshaws in India. I immediately leave dining and ask the young lady Sanjini, who is the room cleaner, what's the score. She informs me that Nivin owns the rickshaw. Dark horse, that one. You wait till I see him tomorrow. When he hits me with, hello, bath towel, I'll retort with, a rickshaw driver and owner. With a shake of my head from side to side, haven't you? The mozzie in the treatment room, of course, doesn't care one way or another whether Niv is a rickshaw driver or not, as long as I return to the treatment room the next morning for his daily banquet. Now, one needs to understand that no one is actually captive in the Sri Hari Ayurvedic resort, but there are bars on every window of every room. If it's to keep the mozzie out, then it fails miserably, as they have no respect for the bars or your privacy. But the netting on the inside of your room tied with Velcro, that is another matter entirely. Maybe the treatments are getting to me just a bit, but at dusk when the mozzies are on full throttle trying to suck the living daylights out of me and I am safe and sound in my room, this is my time for payback. It came to me like a vision. I'm now going to dance with contempt and disdain and blow raspberries at them at the same time. It will be a hollow victory though, as they'll just bide their time until evening meal when they'll all congregate in dining to give it to me big time. There is another lady at the clinic who is a Buddhist, but she seems to take great relish in squashing them with a slap of a part of her hand when they attack. Alas, these victories are few and far between, as they know our attention span is virtually zero as we are eating and therefore vulnerable. When you're eating at double speed, you go to the sink just outside dining to wash your plate, spoon and cup at the same time as doing an impression, whilst doing an impression of a Brasileira samba to keep the mozzies at bay while they cash in on their last pickings. I think women call what I'm doing multitasking. I hurry over to the main area to take my medicine and usually make it to my room before blackout. Then I go to bed ready for the next fat-busting treatment the following morning. Oh yeah. So I started to write all this stuff and I sent it off and I got quite a favourable reaction. People are writing back and I'm going, you know what, I think I'm going to carry on with this. So I decided there and then that I'm going to write a book. And I'm going to write a book, a comedy book, and I'm going to, because I'm there. So it's real easy to just take it from there. So I come up with this story where it's this paparazzo pro, and basically in London, in Brighton in England, and he has made his money off of catching this would-be pop star that was trying to become a politician who was cheating on his wife. He goes across the road, telephoto lens, day of the jackal, catches him in the act, right, and sends it all off and makes a fortune. Okay. So, but he feels bad because he's spiritually not being given any. His spirit is kicking in, and he's only respected and in